That is one of the problems that I feel like I run into with our cryptid countdown, which is we do a Halloween. It's like an advent calendar, but it's a countdown to Halloween. Is how many variations of a Bigfoot can I make and
Yeah.
still feel good about it?
Hello, makers. Welcome to the Making Conversation podcast, where we chat all about making, the app and the act. I'm Jen, head of marketing here at Making. My pronouns are she, her. My Making app username is Knit Pearl. Now, today's guest, I have not actually met in real life, although I kind of feel like I know them, like kindred spirit and all that jazz. So how we met was one day I was scrolling Twitter. I refuse to call it the other thing. We're not going to. And I saw a tweet about the whole thing about like crochet and fast fashion. And if you buy fast fashion that is crochet, those people are not making a living wage and you should just learn how to do it. And so I retweeted it and then we just became friends everywhere. And then they joined the Making app. And everybody, please welcome Kelley.
Hello.
Hello. I actually scrolled back because I still have my account.
I actually deleted my Twitter account, which was like a very sad day for me. But I'm on Blue Sky if people want to find me. I use that kind of platform as just a way to dump my dumb inner thoughts. And I couldn't leave it behind entirely. So Blue Sky it is. If you were like a weirdo on Twitter, it's a good place to be. I will say, and I don't know if I can say this word on this podcast, it is much hornier than Twitter ever was.
That is not where I thought you were going with it. You heard it here first if you're not on Blue Sky.
Hi, my name's Kelley Freeman. My pronouns are they, them. My Making username is @dymad, as in DYE mad. And I am based in Columbus, Ohio. So-called Columbus, Ohio.
We're going to get into your love of Ohio shortly, which, you know, kind of is all throughout your business and your shop. But, you know, just as a quick reminder for anyone listening, which, okay, if you're a maker and you still don't know about this, I feel like I don't know what planet you've been on, but just a reminder that crochet fast fashion, bad news. I actually pulled this. I did a little Google because I was like, ooh, how much do these people actually make? Because
I mean, it's
obviously it probably changes.
Piece. Yeah.
Per piece. So think about the last time you made anything. And this doesn't have to be crochet, like knit, painting, quilting, and how long that took and how much you put into it. I actually found something from morganpawprint.com, which is the Morgan School in Connecticut. I was like, oh, I love the young people are out in it. They're talking about it. And Abby Vitola, basically, this is just the like first thing I saw. She doesn't say where she got this information, but it checks out. So even if it isn't perfect, it's still like somewhat accurate enough to where if you hear this, you should never buy crochet fast fashion. But fast fashion pieces typically cost $3 to $15. And think about the days that it takes to make anything. Absurd. And workers are being paid on average 18 cents per piece.
My tweet was like a condemnation of crochet fast fashion specifically because there is in no world a justifiable wage for crochet clothing, crochet fast fashion. But I am kind of in the camp that like all fast fashion is also bad.
Oh, totally. Yes, 100%.
But we do live under late stage capitalism. So there is no ethical consumption under late stage capitalism. So I can't outright condemn all people who use fast fashion because of other barriers to trying other like slow fashion or thrifted fashion. There's so many barriers to what people can do. But like, I do not think that crochet fast fashion is justifiable in any sense. That's just a nice to have. There is no... And I love this about crochet, but it is not an efficient way to make something. And that's actually what was so frustrating about that Twitter thread is how many people who were arguing with me that there were crochet machines. No, there is not a crochet machine, and there will never be a crochet machine because there is no financial incentive to make a crochet machine. I feel like I just like made a syllabus in the replies of that tweet.
It was very impressive, but how many people were arguing with you? I was just like, but why? And then I was like, oh yeah, it's the internet and it's Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, definitely part of it is it's the internet and it's Twitter and people like to argue. Part of it is ignorance and not understanding how fabric is made and how different fabrics are made, especially if you're like, why would there not be a crochet machine if there are crochet stitches? Because you don't have any base understanding of how fabric is made, which is okay. You don't live in a world where you have to know that. Do I think people and clothing and things in general would be better if we understood how fabric was made and how clothing was made? Yeah, because there are really badly made pieces of clothing out there.
I feel like more people are taking to educating themselves about many different things, and there will always be the people who just won't.
Yeah, clothing is one of those interesting things that as we look at inflation over the last 100 years, the cost of education, the cost of housing, the cost of transportation have all just like skyrocketed. And like clothing has actually been one of the few things that has gone down. And it's because of mass market fast fashion. We have more clothing than we will ever need. And we pay less for it than we ever did.
Yep. We talked a little bit about this. I had a couple people on to talk about like mending and thrifting. And we talked about the fast fashion industry just a tiny bit, but how much that is made that doesn't even see the light of day is just so disgusting.
Yeah, and that's not even talking about what the fabric itself is made out of. So much of it is just plastic.
Let's talk about something happy. Where did your maker journey start? Like where did this all come from?
That's kind of funny because my mom had this belief. She's like, you're going to grow up and live in Spain on the Riviera and become an artist. And like, I don't know where that came from because I liked drawing, but it wasn't until like I was probably a junior or senior in high school until I picked up yarn. And here I am today. I learned from a high school, now ex-boyfriend's mom. Yeah.
I learned from an ex-boyfriend's mom too. Oh, let's start a club.
Yeah. His parents and his family are wonderful people. And, you know, obviously are a huge influence on who I am today, whether or not they want to be.
I know. I kind of think of that too. I highly doubt that any of this has ever gotten back to her just because of how long ago this was and all of that. But I'm like, if she would ever find out that I now work for an app, and the reason that I work for the app is because of, you know, many different things, but also because I love knitting, and that is because of her. And
yeah, I started crocheting, and then I picked up knitting. No, actually, that's a lie. I picked up spinning after I picked up crochet. And then once I understood how yarn was made and like how the twists work as far as making different fabrics, I think that finally actually made my brain click with knitting. And also learning Continental, that helped a lot. And now I quilt and I embroider and I dye yarn. And I guess the next thing is I just get a sheep. So
just one. Just one that hangs out in the shop.
Yeah. There's not enough space in the shop. There's not even enough space in my backyard for a sheep. I live in the city.
That's fair. Yeah, we want to be nice to the sheep. So maybe sheep is like when you live on the Riviera. Is that what?
Yeah, the Spanish Riviera.
The Spanish Riviera. We moved to the Spanish Riviera. We buy a sheep.
Yes.
There we go. Currently, right now, your go-to medium. I mean, obviously, you own a yarn shop. So, do you feel like you're knitting more, crocheting more? Do you have time for any of that?
Oh no, it's all I do. I decided to do the 100-day project this year, and so I was going to do 100 days of embroidery, and I got through most of that, and then I was like, I don't want to do this anymore because embroidery was like my 6th craft. Yep. It was not my like 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th choice. I only did it because I wanted to get better at it, which I did. I do not enjoy it any better. Sorry to all the embroidery artists out there. I love you anyway.
No,
but the problem with somebody who hyper focuses on their crafts is now I have a bunch of repetitive stress injuries. So I do a lot of quilting these days, but I do still knit when my elbow is not trying to kill me.
That's nice. What do you do when you're not making or running a yarn shop or anything along those craftiness lines?
I have a 6-year-old, so mostly that.
Yeah.
I have also been trying to learn how to read again. I know that's a weird way to say it, but like
I know what you mean.
It was like my main thing I did as a child. I would ignore what was going on in class and just read, which yes, got me in trouble. And yes, my son is also doing that. Whoops. So I'm mostly just trying to relearn how to read, sit down and read. And I've read more books this year than I have in the last 10. So I have made progress on that front.
Yay. That's awesome.
I also have a husband I have to spend time with sometimes.
Yes, that's fair. Okay, so I want to chat about your yarn shop.
Cool.
So you opened it in September 2022, and it's called
true. Dye Mad Yarns. Yeah.
Love it.
This weekend will be our 1-year anniversary, which is bonkers.
Happy anniversary. That's my
Thanks.
song for you. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah. I feel like our anniversary just kicks off our busy season. It is definitely a wild ride from here on out. And also my birthday season.
Happy birthday. I won't sing that to you, though. Yeah.
That's fine. We opened the shop last September. We've been in business since May of 2020, but opened the shop front. I was previously in a studio space at one of the local artist studios. But I wanted, air conditioning because it turns out working with boiling water and wool makes for a bad time in August in Ohio.
Oh, yeah.
So
that doesn't sound very fun.
We're in the heart of downtown Columbus, Ohio. We're a block north of the State House. We're on Gay Street, which I love. We're between High Street and 3rd. So we're on Gay and High, going down on 3rd.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I have a shirt that says I'm high and gay.
No, it just says Gay and High, yes.
Gay and High. Oh, it just says Gay and High. Nice. I love that. Yeah.
That was our Pride fundraiser shirt this year. I'm honestly just baffled no one had done it before. There's an intersection in the city that's Gay and High. Come on. And for all Ohio listeners on here, marijuana is on the ballot in November. So vote to legalize.
Yes. 100%.
Also abortions on the ballot in Ohio too. So just go out and vote in November, please.
Oh, yeah. Please, everyone, no matter if you're in Ohio or not, vote. Please vote. Please.
I mean, it's 2023, so most of what you're going to see is probably going to be local elections and levies. So I would say that those are actually more important than federal. And I am a former 100%. Organizer, so I know what I'm talking about.
Oh my gosh. Well, maybe we should do a whole other episode why everybody needs to get out and vote. I still can't believe how many people don't vote. It blows my mind.
I'm not going to fault anybody for it, for how many Voting Rights Act violations there have been in the last 30 years.
I should have clarified my statement. I feel like it's like the people who it is very easy to do so, and then they do not. Like that, don't be that person. Okay,
I mean,
people, if you're watching or listening, don't be that person.
I mean, it's definitely like a spectrum of easy too. I mean, there are some people who aren't apathetic but don't see the point, and I understand that from a lot of perspectives, especially like in a state like Ohio or like where I'm from, South Carolina, where it doesn't like it feels not only like an uphill battle but just like impossible. So yeah, I understand it, and it's definitely a starting point and not a be all end all kind of thing to organize around.
Yeah, but you're right. I went in the route of just blanket statements, and well, that's not necessarily the best way to go. These are things that we need to be talking about, right? Well, no matter how upsetting they are. I should have known we would get here.
My values are integral to my business. I'm sorry.
But it's the same with us. And we do really appreciate every time a business is loud and proud about their values, because then it makes it even more like, A, you know where you're putting your money, and B, it makes it easier for everybody to be that way that wants to, right?
That's the goal anyway. I mean, what's the point of being on Gay Street if I don't get to be a little gay or a lot gay?
I mean, everyone's a little gay.
Yeah, I agree. But yes, the shop is downtown Columbus, block north of the State House. It's an itty bitty little shop. It's about 450 square feet. Like, it is not a big space, but we do all of our dyeing, all of our shipping there, and we have a little tiny retail area, and I'm really proud of it.
So you said that you started Dye Mad Yarns in May of 2020.
I did, yeah. I had picked up spinning and knitting, and I was like, well, what's dyeing like? And I was like, oh, I can't keep all this yarn in my house. Would other people be interested in yarn? And it turns out the answer was yes. I think dyeing was different than all of the other making hobbies I have, because it was not something that I was going to do as a hobby for very long, because it is just not something that is sustainable if you like to do it with any sort of regularity, because there's only so fast I can move through yarn.
So was it just, I want to try this new hobby, I'm going to pick this up, and then you ran with it? Or was it like, I can't find a specific color and I want to try and make this specific color?
Like, I had an inspiration and I had some colorways in mind, and I thought other people would enjoy them too, because some of my first colors were inspired by the weird eccentricities of Ohio. So that was pretty easy to run with pretty much immediately. But it was just like, I want to try this other way to make something and way to work with color and fiber. It's a weird way of becoming a commercial artist, I guess.
Creativity leads the way, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Every single color that we've ever dyed has an inspiration first, and then we pick the colors. I feel like most dyers, and I could be wrong, I could be entirely off base, I have no idea. They will pick colors and then pick a name.
I do want to read from your website. My inspirations for yarn are largely from my state of residence, my chosen home. So Ohio, as we have stated. So it says that you grew up in the South, and it says Ohio is not like the South except when it is. And Ohio is weird. I don't mean in the craft brewery on every corner, keep Austin, Portland, Asheville weird bullshit kind of way. I mean Grandpa's Cheese Barn, Hell is Real, Lucky Cat Museum, absolute nonsense weird. Weird as in Ohio has always been weird, and there is absolutely nothing you can do about it. But I do need to know more about Grandpa's Cheese Barn and the Lucky Cat Museum.
Oh, well.
I can assume what Hell is Real means, but...
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I feel like all of the Midwest gets the Hell is Real sign. We all share it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Grandpa's Cheese Barn is exactly what you think it would be. It is a roadside attraction in Ashland, Ohio that is just... It was started by man, and he was collectively Grandpa. He actually and this is sad, actually, he died last year, and then Grandma died a few days later. He was 90. It's very sad. But there's just a bunch of cheese. He's got a bunch of cheese. There's a bunch of different flavors. You could also buy fudge and ice cream and beef jerky and popcorn.
I will say Grandpa's Cheese Barn would be my heaven because I love cheese.
Yeah, I mean, you get a little bit of everything going I-71 and I-75 in Ohio. There's also Big Butter Jesus on I-75. Well, okay, that's not true. He's not there anymore. He's been struck by lightning twice.
Wait, what? I'm learning so much right now.
Yeah, Big Butter Jesus was just like a giant statue of Jesus, and they had built him twice, and he's been struck by lightning twice. And
made of butter?
No, he was just kind of a yellowish color, so he looked like he was made out of butter, which is a thing in the Midwest because people make statues out of butter at our state fairs. He was also called $5 footlong Jesus because it looked like he was just $5 foot long. And then he was also called Touchdown Jesus because he had his arms touchdown.
Yeah, that's a customizable Jesus, it sounds like. So he's struck by lightning twice.
It's almost like you're not supposed to build idols or something.
Oh my God. Wow. What a concept. Okay. I now understand why Ohio is weird. I do want to know, what was your very first inspiration for your very first yarn dyeing experience?
I'm trying to think of my first 5 colors. I know that Hell is Real was one of my first colors, and so was Grandpa's Cheese Barn. And then I did one that was called Neon Coral. That I just really like coral, so it was just a layered pink and yellow that made a really pretty tonal coral. And then I did one that was just my favorite colors. That is just called, it's our shop colorway. It doesn't have an inspiration. It's just colors I like, and it's called Honk, which makes sense because our logo is a goose, which is inspired by the Midwest phenomena of a porch goose. Are you familiar with a porch goose?
I mean, I could guess.
Sure, yes. So, and there's actually an Atlantic article all about porch geese and the resurgence of porch geese. They were a really big thing, gosh. I think in the 80s, but I think they peaked in the 80s. They were around before then, but they peaked in the 80s. And they were actually initially manufactured in Central Ohio up in Delaware County. And they're just concrete geese that you put on your porch, and then you dress them in seasonal outfits.
Of course you do. I felt the 80s was the peak time for geese. So you're bringing it back, and I appreciate that.
It's really funny because I think this was after we changed to this new branding. There's a gallery on the 5th floor of the building my shop is in, and there was a porch goose themed gallery, and it was about somebody. She lives in LA, but she's from Columbus, and she did it kind of about the dichotomy between kind of the kitschy wholesomeness of the porch goose versus some of the violence and hatefulness and bigotedness that comes out of Ohio and Indiana and the Midwest, because this region of the country has the highest concentration of hate groups. It was really
Yeah.
interesting and a really cool exhibit.
All of this is leading us to our topic of discussion. So as we head into spooky season, I feel like I should like drop my voice and we're gonna talk about cryptids. So you also have a yarn collection
I do, and it
that is called
expands
the Cryptid
every year.
Collection.
Yes.
I love that you add to it too. So I mean, they're beautiful. They're
Oh,
all
thank
named
you.
after cryptids, and we're gonna tell the tales of a few cryptids and talk about like why you chose the cryptid, why you chose the color. I just kind of want to hear the connection there, even if it's just an obvious one.
Yeah. Our first year, we did it fall of 2020, so it was our first Halloween collection. And the original lineup was Mothman, naturally, Melonheads, Hasselrod Angel, which is not a cryptid but is spooky, Loveland Frogman, Lake Erie Monster. Yeah, Mud Mermaid was from our second year and is probably my favorite in the collection. I don't know, I love Frogman too a lot, but I just love frogs.
They're all so good. Okay, before we dive into that, let's talk about, I know you talked a little bit about your embroidery, but what are you working on right now?
This weekend is our Saturday hour. We're open on a Saturday once a month. It doesn't make sense for us to be open because we're in the financial district. So we're only open on a Saturday once a month. And this is the Saturday, which is also our anniversary. And actually, that'll be the debut of our fall collection this year, which is Heather's inspired because Heather's is set in Ohio.
I love all of this. This is so good. And Heather's, for anyone, I'm assuming you mean the movie.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Just yes. If anyone watching or listening has not watched Heather's, that is something that needs to happen. So add that to your list of to-dos.
It's not like really Halloween-y, but it definitely fits the vibe.
It fits the vibe. Yeah. It works.
We kind of waffled on whether or not we were gonna do, because there's a couple horror movies set in Ohio. There's Silence of the Lambs, there's Nightmare on Elm Street, there's Heather's, there's a movie called Thanksgiving. So we had a lot of really great. We had a lot of really great options.
About?
We were gonna do just like movies set in Ohio was gonna be the theme, but there's so much inspiration from Heather's that we really just had to stick to one movie this year.
Fun.
Personally, I am working on this quilt.
Oh my God. Love. Okay, so explain it for the people who are listening.
It is the Polar Peekaboo quilt by, hold on, I can find the notes real fast. By Kelley Quilt Designs. And it is a narwhal and a penguin and a polar bear. And it's like a 3x3 kind of block quilt. My brother asked me to make a quilt for his friend's baby, and he's paying me to do so. So I'm making a quilt.
Nice.
And it's really cute.
It is really cute. It's really cute.
Yeah, so I finished the quilt top last night, and now I just have to actually quilt it.
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 sweaters on my needles and a pair of socks and all that fun stuff. I'm working on a sample knit for the shop. There's a color we recently released that's called Longaberger Picnic Basket, which is inspired by the world's largest picnic basket, which is around Newark, Ohio, and it is the former office headquarters of Longaberger Picnic Baskets, which went out of business in 2018. But you can still find it all of the Amish country thrift and antique shops if you just desire a Longaberger Picnic Basket.
It feels like the inspiration of Ohio is endless.
You're not wrong.
Oh, and everything has a story connected. It's wonderful. That's wonderful.
I tell people when they come up to booths at shows, if you have a question about the name, please ask me. There is a story.
Yeah. I had been working on the mini mock neck tank by Jessie Maid in a beautiful yarn, and I finished it, and I just haven't had a chance to put it on and take photos. But I thought it was such a lovely piece and pattern that I started to make another one. These I got when I went to hang out with Amy and Jess on Bainbridge at La Mercerie. La Bien Aimée yarn.
Nice. I have yarn and the pattern to make Jessie's racerback tank that she released around the same time as the mini mock neck. Her patterns are just so well written and so versatile and so lovely.
Yeah. Yes. That was, and the reason that I wanted to make another one was because of that, but also because the first one that I made was dark purple, and then this one's going to be this lighter color. Unfortunately, I did get a fair amount into it, and then I had to frog it. I literally don't know how I did this. I'm how did I not catch this? How did this happen? But one of the straps was twisted.
Oh no.
And there was no coming back from that.
Yeah, that's kind of unsalvageable.
So I had to frog it last night. And I was really excited because I got to the part where it was just straight stockinette until you got to the ribbing. And I was like, this is going to be the best. Like, I just walk around with it. Nope. I have to start over. So it's fine. The yarn is like really nice to knit with. So, and also it's just like a practice in patience and a reminder that it's okay to frog things.
Yes.
And no matter how long you have been crafting at all, you will make mistakes.
It's true. I am, with all of my knitting projects right now, I'm at the point where all of them are in stockinette, which is great if you just like want to do some mindless knitting, but I don't want to do that on 5 different projects. So I'm just like, I don't want to work on any of these. And I cannot start another one because I have 5 of them.
That's true. I feel it. What if you finished one and then the reward was starting the next one?
Yeah, that probably will be, but that does require actually finishing one. So
that's fair. See. Yeah. Let's talk about these cryptids because I'm very excited about this. So for anyone that does not know what a cryptid is, and I mean, I feel like most people do, but you know, from Merriam-Webster, an animal such as a Sasquatch or the Loch Ness Monster that has been claimed to exist, but never proven to exist.
I feel like a short way to say that is a mythical creature that is too new to be called a mythical creature.
I like that. Yeah, that's better. Sorry, Miriam. We found a better one.
The stuff of urban legends.
So, as you said before, your first release of these yarns that you had, it was Mothman, Lake Erie Monster, Loveland Frogman, and that was it, right?
And Melonheads.
Melonhead. Got it. Okay.
Melonheads is interesting. I'm sorry that I can just nerd out about every single.
Jump in. You're
Melonheads
good.
Is interesting because that is out of Kirtland, Ohio, and there's a couple different versions of it. And actually, there's a couple different versions of Melonheads that aren't Ohio-based. There's some in North Carolina and Michigan and Connecticut. But like, there was a doctor experimenting on children in the woods, and there's some different backgrounds about them like having hydrocephalus, and some of them just being a monster injecting them with fluid. Anyway, the good news is that they eventually killed the doctor and are just orphans running around the woods that have become cryptids. The point of this being interesting is that Kirtland, Ohio is also the first Mormon settlement, not like in Ohio, but in existence of Mormonism. And I just think that those two combined are a very weird combination.
Yeah. That is. I'm going to agree with that. Yeah. So beware of the Melonheads. Where are they at again?
Kirtland, Ohio.
Got it. So, okay. Well, I don't have that on my vacation list anytime soon, but I will be aware. You do have stickers that have some of these cryptids like performing crafts.
I do.
So we have the Mothman is knitting, and that's understandable. Moth's knitting. That feels right. The Sasquatch is spinning.
His own fur.
Yes. Oh my God. And that, I was like, that feels right. That feels like something that a Sasquatch would do. And it's absolutely adorable. But then what would happen? The Sasquatch would get cold. No, because it would have yarn to make clothes with.
Right. He's just making himself some socks.
Yeah. I love it. Okay. And then the Frogman is cross-stitching?
Yes.
I don't get that one.
I don't either. I didn't design these, actually. These were designed by Lyra Puruganan, who is a local artist.
Mothman has never looked more adorable.
It's true. I really like the opportunity to like work with other weird Ohioans. When they're doing weird Ohio things, I'm just like, yes, hello.
Yeah. So Mothman, I do have a question about that because I did not research every cryptid that is named for your yarns here. So I feel like when I hear about Mothman, it's from West Virginia, like specifically Point Pleasant. So tell me more about that and its connection to Ohio.
And you would actually be correct in that assumption. The only claim that I can really make to Mothman is that the bridge that he prophesies would come down is over the Ohio River, and across the bridge from Point Pleasant is Gallipolis, Ohio. So it is just really on the border of the two states. So I will not claim Mothman from Ohio. I would merely just like to borrow him sometimes. And you know what? I feel
That's
like
fair.
I'm allowed to do that because Chicago has their own Mothman. So like clearly he travels.
He does. And I also just really revealed my lack of geography knowledge.
That's okay.
Mothman travels, and Jen doesn't really know that corner of the U.S. very well, clearly.
I can't even really say that like a lot of the hype comes from like the Mothman Prophecies movie because it was so long ago. That your love of Mothman is from that. It's just like bonkers at this point. It's a Richard Gere movie from like the 90s. There is
Yeah,
the museum is based around that movie, but it was just he was attacking some teens doing naughty teen things in the 60s, and then a bridge collapsed, and they're like, oh my god, Mothman predicted the collapse of this bridge that killed like 23 people, or probably more than that. I have to check my facts on that. And you know, some people like to get stoned and think about things like that, and they're like, what if Mothman is a higher being and he is trying to communicate to us, but we cannot understand what Mothman is trying to communicate because we do not perceive the world on a higher plane of existence as Mothman does.
As Mothman does, yeah.
He's just a large humanoid moth. He's got red eyes and large wings and possibly some antenna.
Well, there you go. And does visit Chicago sometimes.
Apparently, which that's fair. It's a great town. I love Chicago.
Maybe Mothman is like, I love deep dish pizza.
Hell yeah.
I must go to Chicago. I want to talk about the mud mermaid because, I mean, it is, the yarn is beautiful. If you're watching on YouTube, it's probably like right here. I put it up on the screen. From Cryptid Wiki. Cryptid Wiki. That's, those are words. If any of this is wrong, please do correct me because obviously you are the expert and I am not. So mud mermaids are mermaid-like creatures commonly believed to have lived in the muddy banks of the Ohio River during the early 19th and 20th centuries. They were recounted in an 1839 Pennsylvania newspaper as being about 4 feet high, covered with a light coat of chestnut-colored hair. They're also described as having a yellowish skin color, webbed feet at the end of their 4 limbs. Though different sightings reported the creature having slightly different attributes, which is maybe why you just made that face. They are always described as having vaguely humanoid and amphibious features, and they run and swim at high speeds and let out loud screeches and yelps when pursued.
Yes. My source in research has been on the banks of the Cincinnati River, or in Cincinnati, and it was covered by the Cincinnati Enquirer, which is like a legitimate news source, and it's still around today. The sightings of them in Cincinnati have them like chasing people and screaming at them and not being like the sirenous mermaids of like sailors lore. Like they are terrifying, which I think is like so funny that like the yarn that we made is just like these beautiful earthy pastels because we're trying to look like the mud of a river, mottled skin. Actually, we find that a lot in our cryptid yarns. Oh, these beautiful beachy pinks. I was like, thanks, that's flesh. It's flesh.
There you are. Now, every time anybody makes anything with a pink yarn, they will think of that.
It's all about context, baby.
Yep, that's true. When you are picking these colors, how does it work? How does it work for you?
I think every single dyer is going to be different because there really aren't a lot of resources to how to dye yarn. There's not one right way to do it. A lot of your dye's opacity and depth of shade comes from your depths of shade, which is like how many grams per how many liters of water to your citric acid. And I am not a chemist. I do not measure things out by the gram. I am very much like a imperial system. 1/4 of a teaspoon to 3 cups of water. Let's go. I don't know why people do the depths of shade. I'm sure it has to do with, or like weight of goods to depths of shade and like percentages and chemistry and math. I'm sure that there is like a level of consistency that would be achieved if I did that. I have not noticed it. And that is why you buy all the yarn you need at one time for your projects, so your dye lots match. But the way we pick colors is every time we get a new dye, we dye a mini skein and add it to our wall of colors. So we just have like in the back room, we have just a wall that is our rainbow of every single dye that we have collected in our time.
Oh my God.
So I knew that I wanted something more pastel, which means less dye. I knew that I wanted earthy tones, so I was like an olive. I wanted like a clay red, and then obviously we needed a blue from the river. So it kind of worked out together. And like the way some of the dye like blends together, you get like some purple flecks or like some purple blending or like a deeper teal because of the green and the blue. So it comes together really beautifully. I don't think there is a standard way to discuss how you dye something across the industry, because when actually my co-owner and I are like, so how do you dye this? Do you do it with stripes or is it just vibes? It's just vibes. I don't know.
Again, creativity leads the way.
Yeah. I don't know what standardization in this industry would look like, but I am not leading the way on that one.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe that kind of is connected to a phrase that I like to say around here a lot, and that is perfection is boring. So if everything was the exact same, would it all look the exact same? Anyways, I think that's great that it's a little bit more like it's based on vibes. I want to know if anybody has recorded a screeching and has been like, I think that is Mud Mermaid.
There's so many other options of potential creatures that aren't even cryptids that it could be. But like there's so many other cryptids that be screaming.
I know. They're all very screamy, aren't they?
It's relatable.
My 21-year-old cat likes to scream a lot. Maybe she's a cryptid now.
Be the local cryptid you wish to see in your woods.
Bella, the really, really tiny cat cryptid. I love that. Okay. I know she's very cute. Love her.
It is very interesting to me, like the sharp increase in interest in cryptids, because I don't know what it's coming from or like what it says about society. There's like a rapid increase in founding of regional cryptid festivals. They are just like kind of kitschy, fun, like regional festivals.
Maybe the cryptids were like, I'm going to come out more, and then there's more sightings, and people are talking about it more, and there's, paranormal shows that are covering it. That's where my mind goes.
Yeah. I also like to think about like monster symbolization, and I don't know if theory is the right word, in like media, like our like fascination with monsters is a reflection of our own identities. Anyway, that's neat.
Speaking of monsters, orange eyes. I was going to somehow tie that to the other orange monster, but we don't need to talk. We don't need to give any airtime to that orange monster.
Nah. Yeah, that is Ohio's flavor of Sasquatch. So
orange eyes is a Sasquatch.
Yes.
I love it. Okay.
Yes.
We've got Sasquatch sightings, obviously, in Washington.
Yes. I feel like there's just like regional variations of a big hairy man. We're all freaked out by that, which is fair. But
terrifying in general. So,
So there's like the Yeti, there's the Sasquatch, there's Bigfoot, there's Orange Eyes. It's all just regional variations on a theme. Orange Eyes is a little bit cliche in the sense that he attacked some teenagers who were necking on Lover's Lane, because there's legitimately a Lover's Lane in like Worcester, Ohio.
Why are all of these cryptids like being the moral police with teenagers?
That's a good reflection and a good point. Maybe they are not actually events. Maybe they are just moralization police.
So it says that Orange Eyes lived under a Cleveland cemetery, and
I don't know what that means.
Lives near Mill Lake.
Oh, now okay.
The first sighting dates back to March 28th, 1959, and that's when the attack happened at Lover's Lane. Again, I don't understand why that's happening, but the not paying attention and out in the darkness, maybe that's just why.
Why can't we return to the good old days of America where our teenagers were getting attacked
on Lover's Lane
by monsters?
Okay, so like you said, he's a hairy Bigfoot beast is what this says. A large Sasquatch, but glowing orange eyes.
Mm-hmm. I feel like we've had a really hard time, because I feel like every year I have released this color, and every year I'm not keeping this color around. And it's because there's only so many variations you can do of an orange and green and brown yarn that doesn't look like camo. And I don't know if you would guess this, but people who are really into camo are not my demographic.
That's fair. I mean, I do enjoy these colors, but I think what drew me to talking about this one, when you hover over the photo on your website, it like shows a photo of possible orange eyes sighting, that makes me really happy. Makes me really happy.
I have a lot of love in my heart for Bigfoot and Sasquatch. We actually have 2 little Bigfoot statues in our shop that were gifted to us from Lindsay at Stilly Rivers Yarn in Stanwood, Washington.
Love. So we also have the Nightcrawler. So I don't know why when I went to your site, I thought it was just the Nightcrawler, but it is called the Fresno Nightcrawler, is this yarn.
Yeah, it wouldn't be entirely accurate. Although the Fresno Nightcrawler is the most well-known, they actually have been sighted in Indiana as well.
Oh, okay. I found an article by Kaylin Tenkoski. I'm sorry, Kaylin. I never say anyone's name right. It's called What is the East Coast Nightcrawler? I will say the Nightcrawler yarn is beautiful. It's like a lovely like mixture of mints and darker color, which I think, is that black?
It's like a charcoal. But the inspiration for the Fresno Nightcrawler yarn was we wanted it to look like CCTV, just like night vision cameras, because that's the only way he's been sighted is on night vision camera. It looks like a little sentient pair of pants.
Yeah. It's true. So yeah, I see it 100%. Again, if you hover over on the website, it's the little photo pops up of the pants.
We try to include an inspiration photo whenever we can.
It's perfect. Okay, so this article, for several days leading up to the actual encounter on August 27th, 2017 in Youngstown, Ohio, strange things were happening outside the witness, Ron Bakla. Sorry, Ron. I'm just going to apologize after every single time I say somebody's name, unless I absolutely know. According to his submitted case report with the National Cryptid Society, reports of strange clicking noises, trash cans knocked over, and strange droppings in the yard, and the dog consistently alerting around midnight had him spooked. So the Nightcrawler does not adhere to the typical 3 a.m. creepiness. I enjoy that.
I also would love some more. I would love some mid-afternoon spookiness, personally.
Yeah, come on. Okay, Nightcrawler, are you listening?
Catch me at 2 p.m.
Yeah. This pair of pants walking down. Okay. So on the night in question, the dog went crazy as usual, barking in the direction of the back deck. This time, when the homeowner looked out of the window, he saw 2 eyes looking at him briefly from the backyard. And then the figure took off, running down his driveway, 15 feet in 2 seconds.
He's zooming.
Yes, very fast. The home security footage captured the moment, showing a bird-like figure, not particularly tall, with long legs and feet that pointed outwards if it was standing still.
Was it in like third position for ballet? What do you mean by pointing outward? I need to get this like specific.
Ready for ballet.
Yeah.
I know.
Ashley at my shop always wants to draw him in like red heels or like kinky boots. And then this is a spoiler for the Cryptid Countdown, but she made a sticker. It's a la Flashdance, and he's spread out on a chair like in the like iconic movie like scene. It's very cute.
I love it. Okay, well now we need the Nightcrawler to come say hi to us at 2 and then show us their ballet skills.
Yeah, lunch at 2, show at 7. Come on.
Yeah. The witness first stated the creature had dark feathers and a snout. But yeah, I'm like, wait, what? He also said it didn't
detailed
appear.
I've heard about the Nightcrawler.
I know. He also said it didn't appear to have arms or wings.
It's just bird legs.
I'm like, now I'm confused. It simply appeared to be legs, a torso, and a head, which makes
covered
sense
in feathers.
With the photo.
Covered in feathers
and a snout.
What a bizarre creature. I love him.
Yep. Oh, Nightcrawler. You've got a fan club here, Nightcrawler.
You know, it's funny. I talk such a big game. I would be absolutely petrified to run to a cryptid in real life.
Yeah. If any of these things, just a simple ghost, that would, I would become
a ghost.
I don't think I wouldn't be able to. I would be, goodbye, Jen. She's gone. Were there any other cryptids that you wanted to talk about?
I think I would like to mention the frogman and the dogman, which I'm only mentioning these 2 because they have also been recently seen. I think the frogman actually might have been seen in 2020, but I know he was seen in 2016 by some teens who were playing Pokemon Go.
Oh, okay. I was like, at a lover's lane. Come on, people.
No,
Okay,
they
they
were
were playing Pokemon Go.
Yes.
Well, that's
And
not a Pokemon. That is a
a
frogman.
4-foot tall frog.
Wow.
Yeah, so he was first seen in 72. He's roughly 4 feet tall, spotted in Loveland, Ohio, and he's one that doesn't travel. So he's only really been seen there. But he was seen in 2016, and I think he was seen in 2020. And sometimes he is portrayed as having like a wizard hat. So that's fun. I don't really know why he
Nice.
has a wizard hat, but I am pro wizard hat.
I mean, fashion, obvi. Come on.
You're right. I should be thinking bigger picture. I just really like an anthropomorphic frog. Big fan.
4 feet tall? Is it now? Is it a giant frog, or is it like man/frog?
I think it is. He's upright. He's walking upright. And it is funny because it has been debunked before, but then like been seen again. It been debunked like it was actually just an iguana that didn't have a tail. But it has been seen since then by other people. And then Dogman, there's a Ohio Dogman, and then there's the Michigan Dogman. But it's not a werewolf. It is a Dogman. It's between 4 to 6 feet tall, often described as very muscular, with pink or gray skin, and it has been seen on all fours, but it has also been seen bipedally, but it is specifically not a werewolf. And one of the most recent accounts was like from 2016 in Allen County, and this is
okay.
This is my favorite quote. The man who saw it described it as a 6-foot tall creature covered in what looked like gray or pink skin with long ears like a Doberman. Its body, he said, was muscular in hell and at full stride. I only saw the back of it, but it had human legs and ass. I could see the striations in its back. The thing was definitely muscular. I was like, oh, that man got a look.
Dogman has a gym setup in where they live. Dogman likes to get swole.
He's thick. It's incredible to me that you're on record saying this about some sort of creature. I love that.
I mean, it is Ohio. I was kind of hoping that Dogman would be, I don't know, my dogs are so cute. I was hoping the Dogman would be more like adorable.
No, I think that's kind of the appeal of cryptids, is that they are indeed horrifying.
That's fair. Okay. Well, yeah, you're right. Okay. And then I do have a question about the squonk. What is that?
I do take a little credit in like a resurgence of squonk. Squonk is from the Allegheny Forest region of Pennsylvania, and it is described as a pig with skin that is too loose for its body, so a very baggy bag of skin. And its whole premise is that it is self-aware in how ugly it is, and to be perceived is to further recognize how hideous it is, and it bursts into a puddle. Not that it does cry, but like it just becomes a puddle and does no longer exist. It is only a puddle. So I guess if you ever perceive this squonk, it's gone. You killed the squonk because you saw it.
So it doesn't. It just dies.
I think so. I don't know.
Again,
it may reconstitute. It may reconstitute once the threat of humanity has left from that puddle of tears, but I don't know.
Poor squonk.
People feel a real kinship with squonk. I too am too ugly to be perceived.
Oh my god. I mean, no, but we love the squonk. Okay.
Our colorway for squonk is a very beachy and beautiful pink with blue speckles for its tears and its flesh.
Now I'm like looking at this in a whole new light. Because every time I see pink, it's flesh and it's perfection. I love it. So everybody go to diamadyarns.com if you haven't already and go look at the cryptid collection because it's so much fun. I love the inspiration and the stories behind it. And I hope that you enjoyed our little connection between crafting and spooky season with this storytelling as well.
So our cryptid countdown, we committed to 31 colors this year. So there will be quite a rapid expansion of cryptids. starting in October, but they will only be available through the end of November. So if you want your cryptid yarns, you got to move fast, except for our original boys who hang out year round.
Got it. Okay. Well, just like the cryptids, if you are not intentional about finding this yarn, it will be gone and you will never see it. Okay, well, let's talk about something cool that we've seen in the Making app, as we do every single week. Give our little shout outs. Before we jump into that really quick, I do want to say I have finally been putting up the full length Flock Fiber Festival meet and greet chats that we had with some of the vendors that were there. Some of the audio is audioing, meaning, the Wi-Fi situation was interesting, but you can still hear everything, and anything that you can't hear, I cut out. So there you go. And there are just, everybody that I chatted with was a phenomenal human. So if you want a companion to your crafting, throw some of these on YouTube and watch them. You can find them in the app by going to the Discover page, and at the top, we're putting them up as I make them available. Or if you go to events, you can also see them there. So what did you see in the Making app this week that made you excited?
I saw Dimensional Weaving's finished charcuterie weaving, which is incredible. It's so charming, not only because it is just so incredibly made, but I love a charcuterie board. Weaving is also one of those, just is magic. I have not made that leap yet.
They're just so good at felting. Wait, I told you this earlier, but we talked about it last week because it was I was scrolling and I thought somebody literally had made saltine crackers and they were just holding them in their hand. And I was like, oh, I never thought about making saltine crackers. Wait, that's felted.
So it's a woven board with felted pieces. What?
Yeah, which makes it even cooler.
Yeah.
It's multi-craftual. Rose City Originals, which Chris, we love Chris. They are based in Portland, Oregon, and they made a quilt, and then they also made a hat from the quilt scraps. They say that testing is in high gear for upcoming quilted trucker hat pattern. So keep an eye out for that. Let's end with our moment of gratitude. What are you grateful for this week?
My son is home sick from school right now, and I am grateful he is not worse. He sounds pretty pitiful, and we don't know what it is, but we can probably assume what it is. It is that season. So I'm thankful that I am grateful that he is not worse, and that I haven't gotten sick yet, because I did get COVID for my birthday last year from my one coworker I have.
What? That is not an okay birthday gift. Come on.
It sucked, I'm not gonna lie. And so we are going ahead and taking preventative measures and masking at the shop again, because September will be so busy, and hopefully I'll make it through without getting sick for my birthday.
I hope so too. One of my very favorite things is flying on an airplane with a glass of wine, with some sort of TV show or movie, and knitting on an airplane, because I feel like it makes everything it doesn't matter what's happening around you. So I'm thankful for my time of sitting and knitting and watching a movie on an airplane. It's one of my favorite things. And I guess that kind of links to what I like to do when I'm at home and I'm crafting, is sitting and watching bad TV. Okay, there's a theme here. Well, thank you so much for coming on. This is great. I mean, like I said, I feel like I do know you and we've never met. That will change eventually. If y'all are headed to Wool and Folk, keep an eye out for Kelley and Dye Mad Yarns.
Yeah. And if not, catch me literally 24 hours later at Mansfield's Autumn Fiber Festival, because I'm not always good at planning my things. I'm gonna have it's gonna be a really rough weekend.
That is you. Okay, well, what are you going to do to wind down after that?
I'm immediately flying to Bellingham, Washington for a trunk show at Northwest Yarns.
Maybe I can come up to Bellingham.
Yeah. I'm bringing all my cryptids.
Love it. Okay. We'll talk later about that. I'll figure out when that is. And yeah, maybe we can make that happen. That would be fun.
Sounds good.
Cool. Thanks again for joining. Appreciate
having
you.
me. I appreciate
All
you.
right. To join the very first social marketplace app made for makers, crafters, and artists by makers, crafters, and artists, head to themakingApp.com. Download the app and join the amazing multi-craftual community. You won't regret it. Just so much inspiration and so many wonderful, wonderful humans. Did you know that you can also listen to the Making Conversation podcast in the Making app? Open the app, tap on Discover, and scroll down to podcasts. From there, you'll see all of them listed. We've also started putting these up on YouTube if you haven't noticed. We'll see how that goes. I am a one-woman show. If you're listening, there's a link down below to the episode on YouTube. And if you're watching on YouTube, there is a link to listen. So choose your own adventure. If you've made it this far and you're interested in sponsoring Making Conversation or having Making at an event to collect content, amazing maker stories, vendor stories, etc., send us a note at hq@makingco.com. We would so very much appreciate it if you were to share the podcast with your crafting community, whether that's online or offline. Having more eyes and ears always feels real good. So thanks for watching and or listening, and we'll see you in the Making app.